We are back with a Fox News alert. A gunman in custody after 6 cops were shot in an hours-long standoff. And some Democratic hopefuls wasting no time making it seem political.
The failure of Congress, however, the United States Congress, to act on passing smart gun safety laws is the issue.
The voices you hear calling for the kind of gun safety that I put in sort of my very bold plan are police officers wanting it to happen because their lives are getting increasingly dangerous.
Here to react is nationally syndicated radio host Dana Loesch. Hey, Dana, good morning.
Good morning to you all.
What did you make of some of these Democratic candidates? You have Kamala and you have Cory Booker making this political in the first, hour. Even with this, officers are shot, 6 officers are shot, and this guy is still inside, holed up in the house.
I was mystified as to why they were speaking on an event that was still ongoing, a scene that had not yet been secure. We had 2 officers whose lives were still imperiled because they were at the time still in the same building as this criminal was, and they were talking about things that would have absolutely nothing to do with the situation at hand, which is again why somebody needs to be in these people's ear telling them, you know what, maybe you should hold your thoughts on pushing your agenda and politicizing this until maybe we can make sure all the officers' family members have been contacted first before you start standing on their backs, using this as a way to push a policy that would have no impact on the situation. The individual in question, this suspect, is a repeat offender, which, by the way, we know this from city after city after city after city. It's public information. You can see these are the individuals that are the #1 drivers of violent crime. This individual had 6 previous felony gun charges on him. He also had beaten murder charges and all kinds of stuff. He was well known to the system. It's already illegal for him to have a gun and already illegal for him to be selling drugs and to be using a gun in a commission of a crime. All felonies.
So, Dana, there are a number of Democrats, including the mayor of Philadelphia, who are calling for new gun laws. What gun law would have kept him from having a gun?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. I mean, are we going to make something illegaler? What law are they talking about passing in order to make something more criminal than it already is? This is what normally these individuals would call loopholes. It's a criminal act. It's not a loophole. It's not anything else. It's a criminal action, and restricting the rights of the law-abiding and minimizing their efforts to defend themselves and their ability to defend themselves based on what these criminals do, that isn't the answer. In fact, you know what I think Philadelphia needs to do, and not just Philadelphia, but cities like my hometown of St. Louis and other cities elsewhere that are struggling with this same problem. They need to look at why these repeat offenders, why the recidivism rate is so high, and who are the judges that are sentencing these repeat offenders. It was the PD, the superintendent of Chicago PD, that said it's the same 1,400 repeat offenders that are driving over 80% of the city's crime rate. That's part of the answer right there. Look at that.
Dana, Texas, switching gears now, Texas taking on the fight against domestic terrorism. We've heard that phrase in the news a lot lately. They're going to come up with a new task force. Do you think that's a good idea based upon what you know about this task force? Things such as initial assessment on the threats, using various new resources to combat this problem that we're seeing in El Paso, in places like Dayton, Ohio. What's your take on that?
Yeah, Todd, I think that's a great question. When I was reading about this task force that Governor Greg Abbott has put together, and it includes the lieutenant governor and a number of other elected officials and authorities, and I definitely think it's a great thing to do whatever possible to identify threats early on. And of course, that also requires an effort from the community and people who, maybe they know someone within their family that could be adjudicated ineligible, or someone in their family that has an issue. Let's get this solved. One of the things that I want to be careful with whenever we create task force like these, and like I said, I think that all of these individuals have the best interest of the innocent at heart, is I want to make sure that we're looking at these credible individuals and we're not going to politicize the issue. And I say this because of the long history we have had of certain agencies like this doing this. Now, I don't know if everybody remembers this, but back in 2007, 2008, the Missouri Highway Patrol under Governor Jay Nixon, who's a Democrat, he was then governor, had had put out a release where they were looking at individuals who flew the Gadsden flag, people who were libertarians, people who were Tea Partiers, as possible domestic security threats. That's kind of an issue that we want to make sure we have some oversight on. So while I think forces like these and these efforts, they're well-intentioned, let's make sure that we have some oversight and we're not conflating someone's innocent free speech with a serious actual threat. And I hope that the governor's office gives some more information about these strategies that they want to implement.
Well, no doubt about it. Domestic terrorism is an awful problem. Dana, thank you very much for joining us from your home state of Texas.
Thanks, Dana. 33